Alex back here again today with another video. I've been promising this video for a while now. It's taken me a while to compile all the information, and I'm going to be going over some articles and stuff in here and some blog posts about the PCU system, as well as Patagonia's military contracts and stuff. So give me a second to drink some water. This is kind of going to be a long form video. I'm going to be going through I have a couple articles to go through, a couple government contract things to go through, and we're going to basically be doing an entire overview of the PCU system, just for like record's sake, just for the end user, just so you guys gain some knowledge. This stuff is really hard to figure out. It's really hard to understand a lot of the development and stuff unless you really know. I'm just making this as to compile all this information so you guys have it all in one spot. You can listen to it in audio format, or you can watch the video of me going over all these. There's a lot of visual examples in all these articles and stuff, so we'll get into it in a second here once I water up and everything. This is kind of just going to be a low effort. I'm just recording my web browser right now. I'm getting over having a sinus infection and stuff, so I may sound a little bit nasally, so please bear with me on that, but let's get into it. So this website is punisher.com.ua. It's a Ukrainian website, so they have two really good articles on the PCU system, the evolution of the PCU system. So if you don't know, it came out after the war in Afghanistan began. So this was basically to supplement the need for adapting to the various weather conditions in Afghanistan. It could be hot, it could be cold, it could be temperate, all that sort of stuff. Mountainous terrain, plateaus, valleys, all that. So basically they're trying to come up with, as it says here, an interchangeable clothing system, which was later called PCU, or Protective Combat Uniform. This was using basically cold weather protections for the military. They didn't really look into the system yet. They had the Equix system, which was kind of failing because there was a lot of gaps in that system as a whole. There wasn't a lot of interchangeable garments and everything like that. So it kind of went into the commercial market for research. So we're looking at things like Patagonia, Beyond Clothing. That's when you start to see Arc'teryx pop up. All these other outdoor clothing brands. You will see some government contractors like Orc and ADS Systems. The PCU system was built basically by Natick, as a result of all this testing and stuff. So the PCU system is divided into 7 layers, of course. It even says that need to be clean. It is not necessary to wear all 7 layers at the same time. They can be combined with each other to protect against different weather conditions based on the exterior environment, as well as how active you are. So the entire PCU system consists of 16 garments, as it says. So Equix, the extended cold weather clothing system, which was originally designed in 1986. So it was basically being modernized. So there was a lot of clothing that was being made at this time, especially by commercial places like Patagonia and other outdoor mountaineering brands and stuff, such like Outdoor Research as well. They were pioneering this space and making a lot more advancements in this outdoor clothing that we're starting to see now. A lot of things that we take for granted now that especially weren't around then were things like Gore-Tex. That wasn't really a huge mainstream thing. Things with tightly woven artificial fibers, so things that were made out of like polyester that were 100%, like wind shirts and stuff that weren't technical fabrics. There wasn't a lot of technical fabrics. You're talking about guys wearing DCUs and BDUs, basically in these mountainous terrains with nothing else other than like undershirts and stuff. So with the PCU, it was started by Mark Twight, so he already had, it says here, 20 years of experience as a mountaineer. So this technical consultant for clothing really came into view during this era because they needed to look at who was in these harsh conditions most often and how did they dress for this type of weather. So that's when Patagonia really came out with their MARS system, their military advanced regulatory system. So they started creating the system for the military. So NATIC project, multi-tier. It's to help protect the soldier in cold and wet weather from 7 to negative 45 degrees Celsius. So average conversion rate would probably warrant that being pretty cold. Probably Arctic conditions. It's probably from like temperate weather. So 7 degrees Celsius is probably, I don't know, anywhere from like 65 degrees. So it's probably from 65 degrees to negative 45. So it's to make this as lightweight and efficient as possible. So we'll be going into like block 0, block 1, block 2, stuff like that. The differences between each block, just basically the PCU system overall. So it's the PCU system is about adapting. So you want to adapt to your mission capability, your mission planning. You always want to be ready for changes in the weather, changes in the temperature, all that. So you want to be able to adapt without having to change the onset of your mission. So when we're looking at the PCU system, obviously it says here it contains synthetic materials that do not retain water. They can become damp either from external moisture or moisture generated by activity, which is sweating. But they're designed to dry quickly. You're not supposed to completely stay dry. It's basically impossible. When you're working, and you're active, you're not going to be dry. You're going to want things that remove water quickly and keep that water off your body so you don't freeze or anything like that. So this was basically coming out. These are a pair of, not a pair. This is a level 6 jacket, so a Gore-Tex jacket. So you would wear this over like a soft shell or something. But it says like the thought process led to the insertion of soft shell materials that were designed by Snugpak. If you guys know Snugpak, they make an amazing sleeping bag system currently. I think it's a special forces system. It involves like 2 bags and a main zipper, and you zip them together, and you can use them in tandem or apart, all that sort of stuff. But it relies on breathable stuff, that isn't like super duper waterproof. It isn't like Gore-Tex. It isn't like a and you're not wearing like entirely Gore-Tex because the Gore-Tex is gonna keep water in, and if that gets saturated, you're not gonna be able to get water out, stuff like that. So it really has like like it says here, an emphasis on durability and functionality. You want to make the best cold weather system that is the best for austere environments and adapting to your mission set. So you want to be able to basically control your macro climate, as it says here. So microclimate, macroclimate, that's basically like your body. So you want to regulate your body temperature as much as possible. You don't want to be sweating too much. You don't want to be wearing yourself out too much, because as you sweat, you're going to become more inefficient in your garment because it's going to be wet, And then temperature will equalize, your water vapor force out, in this case liquid sweat, And then humidity will stay the same inside and outside, and water stays inside the system. So it even says here, although Gore-Tex is a part of it, its use is in very limited specific conditions. When outside the system is significantly higher than the moisture inside the system. So if it's like direct downpour, you'd probably be wearing your Gore-Tex. But if you're not in direct downpour, say if you're in like a super duper light rain, or you're in like snow or something, you're going to be wanting to wear your soft shell, because it's going to be able to keep that system more regulated. You don't really need a hard Gore-Tex shell unless you're planning on getting wet. It says here, like, if the pores in Gore-Tex fabric become saturated, moisture will not evaporate from the layers, which is true. I've worn Gore-Tex before. That I've had this happen. You're moving fast. The Gore-Tex won't allow that stuff to breathe, so you'll end up just sweating out that garment, and it'll be basically useless. It says if the inner layers become cold and moisture inside freezes, the inner layers stick together with the insulating layer. This prevents moisture from escaping. The user loses heat while in the static position instead of generating heat in motion, so the moisture won't transfer, and then you'll just get like kind of cold. So this is level 5 soft shells, water resistant, not waterproof, and then like hydrocarbon, all this other stuff like PFAS, DWR treatments have forever chemicals in them, all that stuff. I'll also be going into detail about Patagonia's like greenwashing too in this. I studied environmental law and practices, and also their sort of environmental natural resource stuff. So I'll be giving my whole spiel on it probably at the end. But a lot of the stuff at this time was made out of cotton. So when cotton absorbs its moisture, it significantly increases in weight, and it becomes hard to dry and also hard to move in things that are cotton. This is why they made like things out of like 50/50 Nyko, stuff that's no melt, no drip. It has the ability to dry faster. Excuse me. Dry faster, more efficiently, stuff like that. You want to cut it down. You don't want cotton because sure it's going to be breathable and all that, but it's not going to dry very efficiently. So PCU was designed to provide comfort on the move, of course. You're trying to limit how many layers you have to take on and off all the time. You're not trying to change out a whole jacket or all your underwear and stuff when you're on a mission. So you don't really want to be doing that. But, you're adding appropriate levels of the garment system items. So if you think about it, you want to layer effectively. You want to layer for your mission set, and you want to layer definitely correctly. You want to figure that out first. This is how you're going to be moving. This is how you're going to be operating in. So if you have to stop and then take like another jacket out just to retain your heat in, instead of taking those layers off, you might have a little bit of an issue. So PCU, it says here, is to stabilize your body temperature. So you want to have as much breathability and system enhancements as possible. You don't want to lose too much heat. You just want to lose enough heat to where you're going to allow yourself to move more efficiently. You just want to retain your heat as much as possible while allowing this moisture to vent. So this, I think, is block 2. This might be block 2 or block 1. But these are the standard levels, so I'll go into all the levels. It's detailed really good in this article. Things like Soldier Systems doesn't really go into this. This is the only website that I've found that has compiled this information that's very readily available and useful. So your level 1A, you have your t-shirts, t-shirts and underpants, stuff like this, t-shirts and boxer shorts, Your level 1 will be your long sleeves, so that'll be like your silk tops, your silk bottoms, Your level 1 and 1As will probably be very similar, silk weight maybe, might have some pockets on the level 1A, and you might have some heavier compositions on that. So it says on here, long sleeve shirt and pants as well as underwear absorbs and removes moisture, and then transpires those into upper layers. And then 1As are the same. It just depends on the manufacturer. Like this is a 1A fleece shirt, of course. Oh well, this is a level 2 actually. A 1A is probably your silk weight. So this will be your level 2s. So this is a level 2, waffle knit. You're thinking about your level 2s, it's all waffle stuff. It's usually just to wick the moisture away from your base layer, your level 1s, into your level 2s, and then up into your level 3s so that can vent. So we have it here. So like your level 3 will be like your low loft. So think about like a Nano Air or something. Or even the Patagonia level 3 and level 3As. Those will be your low loft ones. I'll go into that in the block 2. They kind of changed that up a little bit. So you have your level 3, level 4 wind shirt. This is a block 2 wind shirt, Patagonia one. This is a level 5 block 2 wind shirt, another Patagonia one. So these are like a fleece jacket back in this time, like the regulatory system, the MARS system, and especially the early PCU system. You will see this fleece come up a lot. There are a couple of those like deep pile reversible ACU fleeces floating out there. I think F is for Frank. That Patagonia collector dude uploaded a video of that. So yeah, it's a very warm fleece. Kind of think about it like your Patagonia snap tee, but type material, but with just like a full frontal zipper and of course hip pockets, stuff like that. Sometimes some Velcro fields and stuff. This is the wrong picture for this. This is a level 7 parka. It's labeled as a level 4 windbreaker by Orc, but it's not. So this is what your level 4 would be right here. Everything, of course, is synthetic, so typically 100% polyester or some sort of nylon or something. And your level 4, of course, is your windbreakers. So that's going to be your wind shirt. That's mainly going to be your windbreaker layer. You can wear it as an outer layer or an inner layer to prevent heat loss or anything like that, or to prevent any sort of cold drafts. Yeah, it helps retain 300% more heat than without. A lot of people actually sleep on the wind shirts a lot. They are very, very useful. You can, like it says here, they're very compact and are ideal for escape and evasion. They can be rolled up and put in your pants pocket. Of course, it's less durable and not designed for high abrasion, like crawling on rocks and stuff, or getting out of your car frequently, like it says here. But it's you can wear it like under like a level 9 top or something, like a standard battle dress uniform top, and it will help you retain more of that heat. I've seen a lot of people wear it that way. It helps with breaking rain, especially with like a level 9 top. If you think about wearing it underneath, you're going to be breaking that rain up, and it's not really going to be soaking into your wind shirt as much. This is a level 5 Orc jacket, Block 0, so they kind of has like that black aqua guard zipper on it, kind of intense zippers. These are the pants, of course. You will see the Patagonia ones. They just look a little bit different. The Patagonia ones don't have like these little drainage holes on them for the most part. They're relatively the same, but there are a couple key differences. The soft shell pants, of course, are like vital. It says that they're the cornerstone of the PCU system, and that's definitely true. I mean, they're the most adaptable piece of kit, I would say, for the PCU system. You could see them consistently with multiple layers underneath or on top. So here we have an overview of the pant system, the built-in cuff liner and all that. So, it says the level 5 pants can be fitted with paracord and temporary gaiters to keep out snow out of the wearer's shoe, snow, rain, mud, all that stuff. You don't want to get your socks wet. And then here we have the 6, the 7A, and the level 7. I put a video of the 7A on my channel. It was the low loft insulation vest. And basically the level 6 is your Gore-Tex. So it says here it's a hard shell for heavy rain. It's breathable, but it's way less breathable than the level 5 because it's Gore-Tex fabric, so it's supposed to be like entirely waterproof, so there's not a lot of breathing going on. It's supposed to be worn over most of the rest of the system, which is why it's designed in a specific way, and that's why a lot of the level 6 stuff has like zippers on the legs, zippers on the body, all that, so you can pull it over the rest of your kit without having to take it off. And then this is, of course, a level 7 parka, insulated. Level 7 extreme cold weather parka. There's the drainage pockets and stuff on the side, the cook-off pockets and everything. So the level 7, it consists of a jacket, vest, and trousers. Of course, it's waterproof and breathable as well. These would be your lofty parkas, your little happy suits. And then it says like the type 2 jacket. This must be this type of jacket with the Velcro fields and stuff on it. It's for mobility and a light assault pack, of course. There's zippers on the sides of these as well. And it says there's also a drawstring in the lumbar region. And this is another level 7 vest. It's for additional insulation. This would be worn on top of most of your garments just to provide that additional insulation to keep you nice and warm and waterproof and all that. And a lot of the updates were made and the reinforcements on the knees and everything like that. But as you can see, it's a full zip up the side and everything. But you will see, as for fit and finish and everything, you will see that majority of these garments are made in the States, of course. Um, some of the cuts are different. There are some different measurements and stuff taken into consideration. A lot of the PCU system stuff fits more athletically. If you're not athletically built, if you're like a big body, this stuff typically won't fit you because it is meant to keep your mobility up. You're not really supposed to have like all this excess clothing hanging off of you and stuff, and there's a lot of stretch fabric. So if you're a lot of this stuff doesn't like ride on you, if that makes sense. It kind of moves with you. And then here's like the planning sheet for the PCU system, active wear, what you'd wear in different situations, all your different levels and all that. And then, the most versatile thing, of course, is the windbreaker, of course. And then going into it, there were some different PCU garments that had some accessories, but the PCU system didn't involve any sort of gloves, mittens, hats, socks, or shoes. That's because these were mainly made as like choices. So you'd see guys wearing like Solomons or Solos or Vasks or something, and then a lot of the gloves and everything were usually like outdoor research, like mittens and hats, all that. They were making mitts. I have some Poseidon gloves and some mutant mitts. I might make a video on those soon, but it all comes into play later. And then this is just a little test concept thing. This was an elephant's foot sleeping bag that you could use with the level 7. It basically allowed you to take off the bottom so you could zip it up and lift it up without taking it off. So, but this is another thing. It says who makes this outfit. So these are some of the different evolutions of the PCU system. So this is like a lot of them have been made by these companies right here. So you'll see Orc, Patagonia Beyond, Hallis, Wild Things, Proper, Blackhawk, blah 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 blah. All these they've all made different PCU components and all that. So I think this is Orc primarily. Orc, you can tell by like the sideways zippers. This is mainly Block 0 stuff. So as you can see, it does say here, it can be observed in 2 primary generations. The first duplicated Block 0 shown above released in early 2003, and then Block 1 was made after improvements in 2006. That's why you see the early to mid 2000s Patagonia tags on a lot of stuff. And then as we go into like further in the Block 2, this was after the system had already come out for a while, so you see some Block 2 stuff, mainly changing the different fabrics and the different colors. So you'll see like things in AOR 1, AOR 2, and like multicam. And then it says even here additions of level 3A and 3B. And this is just where you can get PCU stuff. It says like eBay and all that. But it says in here actually, which is kind of funny, for the most part, Patagonia plays down the fact that they make PCUs, which can lead to unwanted feedback from their customer base, because Patagonia, for some reason, and I've experienced this myself. I actually went into a Patagonia store in Dublin, and I thought it was really funny when I was in there because I was wearing I think my multicam combat top or something, and I was just looking around in the store. They asked me if I needed anything. I was like, no, I just find it really funny that all this stuff has all the sustainability packaging on it, but they're still making uniforms for the military and stuff and not wanting to admit it. They still don't. I will show you guys later that the money all leads back to the same place, and that they're kind of still involved. I think they're still involved, at least. They can claim as much as they want to, but they are definitely still involved. But yeah, the PCU, it says the choice is made in layers, which means that if your size is medium, your size for each layer will be medium. I have different layers that are all different sizes. I really need to consolidate and get all like size mediums, but I just haven't had a chance to do so yet. But so this is block 0 and block 1. We'll go into block 2 right now. I'll just switch over. Same website, different article. It's actually linked at the bottom, but you'll see some guys wearing some block 2 stuff in here, wearing some Mystery Ranch packs. Pretty cool. That's an old saddle and that's like a mystery ranch, like rats or something. But this is so they went back to the drawing board after the second block. After that, or after that, like block 1.5 kind of in 2006, they kind of went back, and then in 2012, in soldiersystems.net, that's another thing. I'll go into their Lost Arrow article in a little bit, but they wanted to kind of focus on more higher quality materials, kind of go into things like Polartec Gore, Massive, Primaloft, Nextech, all that. And then it says that the authorship of the design of the entire system remained with Patagonia. So they were involved in this entire process. As much as they like to admit it or not, they were. Sorry, just drinking some water. Still a little under the weather, but they didn't really want to admit that they were directly involved this entire time. So, there's a lot of user hype, of course. A lot of people covet the system, but there's not a lot of information on it. I don't know why, but I'm trying to pave the way so that there's more information. So the block 2 was when they were trying to change to these more advanced materials. So we're looking at more technologically advanced and efficient materials. They wanted to kind of make these interchangeable layers. It says that there was a conclusion that excessive multi-layering of the system is rather it's a minus, and the Cabbage Man is clearly not a worthy hero. And no, they didn't leave the layers, but some of them were processed in such a way that variants of one layer could successfully begin to replace the combination of two. So what really changed? They kind of made like an 8-layer thing. So this is all unclassified information. This was taken out of a presentation. I don't really know where they got this. I couldn't really find this myself. So they were studying like the performance of all these materials, current source contracts as OEM, Source America, Patagonia Massive, this is all the funding and stuff, fiscal year 17, 18, 19. They were coming up with new milestones, lightweight temperate uniforms, new materials for level 5, stretch fabrics, all that. PCU modernization, Arctic evaluations, They're making all these different colors, multicam, AOR1, AOR2, they're changing it up, they're adding camouflage to the kit. Multicam was just coming out. The military, especially the Army, was transitioning to the Scorpion. They're adapting the Cry multicam and making the OCP. So the fit, Patagonia had rethought the silhouette of the PCU. They made it different. They were making different cuts. More athletic fit. 4-way stretch fabric, stuff like that. So that's why they came out with the new 5th layer soft shell fabric. So if you get any new 5th layer soft shells, you may have a different fabric than they were in the block 1. A lot of the materials were different. They're developing new materials, all that. And now there were 8 layers, more precisely 9, but the 8th layer remains in reserve technically. So we're seeing different sets. So we have level 1 became the summer thermal underwear. So you're thinking about things that are like Polartec Power Dry fabric, like t-shirts and stuff. And then 2 became your winter. So you're looking at the Polartec thermals and stuff like that. These are just the test sample pictures. And then level 3 came with more adaptability. So level 3A became the insulated wind shirt. So you're looking at a wind shirt material, a nylon ripstop DWR outer material with ideal fittings. The supplier was Ready One Industries, which was a subcontractor for Patagonia. They're still open now, and they still make clothing actually for Forgeline. So that's under the Patagonia umbrella. So this would be a lightweight pack jacket that would be wearing under body armor, or you could throw it over your outer layers, of course. These are like coveted. The 3As and 3Bs are coveted pieces. People love them. They're little tiny soft like woobie like jackets, And it says it's a hybrid of the 3rd and 4th layer. It's to break that wind, but remove that 3rd layer because it was just becoming too bulky, with something like a wind shirt on. And then you have your 3B, your low loft, waterproof jacket. Some of these were made by Patagonia, of course. These are just coveted. Gore-Tex, Fast Pack membrane, Primaloft Fusion. You have all this amazing insulation and materials going into this. It's a new way of thinking, it's just you wanted to keep your operators dry and you wanted them to have this full layered system that will benefit them in the long term as they're operating. So you will see a lot of these things start to adapt things like colored multicam, Velcro fields, and exterior pockets, and all this other stuff, so they can have you can carry more of these things. They can carry more mission essential gear, quite literally. So then we go into the windbreaker shirts. You'll see the omission of hoods on a lot of these. The hoods will start to go away. So if we're looking at the windbreaker, the wind shirt, we'll see that the windproof jacket with primary moisture protection. So this will start to basically, they will start to remove these excess layers that will start to build up on the neck, and they'll streamline them more. So you'll see the printed ones more often, and then it says like people are asking why, with or without the hood. There's different ones that have the hood or don't have the hood. It's all depends on which one that you get. Some do, some don't, but some have pockets, some don't. It's all different. It says even here, for a simple hoodie like the one pictured in AOR to a more complex Arc'teryx product and multicam, but the products still have common tone. They still have a common theme to them. They usually have pockets in the same places and stuff like that. And then the soft shells jackets and stuff, they started to change this. The fifth layer of the current generation has lost its versatility with an advent of hybrid outer layers and additions of materials and concepts later were later introduced other elements of the kit. So the soft shells began to change. This is a Patagonia soft shell. You can see it there at the tag. And you can see that they started to change it up a little bit. You're losing that hood. The hood's gone, but you're adapting this new fabric, so maybe you don't need the hood anymore. Stuff like that. The cutting was maximally simplified. Instead of patch pocket, sleeves were made set in. The hood missing the hood is missing as a phenomenon. Velcro panels are also placed on it. Due to the overall cut, the jacket was very confused with the 3B. They can be distinguished by the presence of the cuffs for adjusting. And then you have a second jacket, the flex jacket. So this isn't just the soft shell. You have the soft shell flex jacket. You have these different types of jackets that are just made out of necessity. So it says here, like, with the exception of the size of the Velcro panel and sleeves on the manufacturer, the name flex implies the elasticity of the fabric. So you're seeing these with like a 4-way stretch fabric, Durastretch Tweave. So you're seeing these sort of change up a little bit. You see the first version all the way in the left, and then on the central near you see the Flex L5. So you see the different kinds. And then you start to see the different changes into the level 5 soft shell pants, additions of pockets, Next-Tex soft shell 70D, agility. So you're looking at another 4-way stretch fabric. You're looking at the inclusion of things like knee pad slots on the soft shells as well. A lot of different things have changed, undergone some changes in general, similar iterations of the second gen of the first block. Not all the available pockets are equipped with zippers, since both Velcro and buttons are out of confidence with the military and cold climates. They were all changing over to these zippers since they were more efficient, and changing like things like the leg calf and stuff. So you can have built-in internal knee pads, external pockets, all that. Then the rain and moisture suits. The Gore-Tex rain suits kind of like maintained the relative sameness that they've always had. They didn't really change up that much, It was more than fitting in what it was. It didn't really need to be changed up. They just provided it in a different colorway, kind of. Then the level 7 didn't really get much of a change either. You will see more stretch fabrics and stuff like that, and some Climate Shield Apex 3.6 ounces. It says that it was like reinvented, basically just weight-wise. They were thinking about weight considerations. The previous generation had been very, very heavy for the most part, so they were planning on changing that up. And then they started to come out with the level 9s. So this was basically a response to standardize what Cry Precision had made with their combat pants and combat tops. So they decided to kind of adopt their own and make it Patagonia, I guess. So you will see this is when all the level 9 stuff started to come out. You will see the printed bodies and the non-printed bodies for all the Patagonia stuff. I think a couple of the AOR 1 ones and the AOR 2 ones don't have printed bodies. They're kind of like a Cry type. But yeah, you'll see the Nyko 5050. These are for hot weather environments. They're standard combat shirts. Multicam, AOR, stuff like that. The same thing for the combat pants. You'll see kind of like a Cry derivative of the combat pants, made by Patagonia, of course. Their own proprietary knee pads that I've heard suck, very, very much so. A lot of guys don't like those knee pads because they lock in and all that. But you'll see that they're kind of like this sort of Cry derivative, except for they don't have back pockets and they have a button placket on the front as well as a Velcro closure, but they do have the adjustability of the Velcro on the pant legs as well as having the knee pad slots and then the thigh pockets too, as well as the calf pockets. And then this is when they started to create the MGS, which is the modular glove suite. So this is when Outdoor Research really started to put a lot of thought into their modularity of their glove system. They started to come out with things like the Poseidon mitts and the, your everyday rappelling gloves and everything, and how you can integrate those into a different system. But okay, so that's it for block 2. That's our most recent block besides getting into the Lost Arrow stuff. So we'll go into the Soldier Systems Lost Arrow article now. The Military Alpine Recce system, they changed it from the Military Advanced Regulatory System. You can see this kind of as like we're going to do our own thing with the PCU system and try and do it our own way, kind of with Patagonia. So let's get into it. Let me drink some water first before I go into it. So this came out of these operators basically trying to find the best solution. So, Patagonia was already working on this. They're trying to innovate, they're trying to come up with new stuff, they're taking stuff that they've learned from the civilian market and putting it into all this gear. It says here, like, most people who enjoy the outdoors know Patagonia. Anybody who's watching this channel probably does. They have a huge long-term dedication to social and environmental responsibility. Well, these may sound like marketing buzzwords. It turns out they manifest themselves in ways the average person would never imagine. It's kind of funny because Patagonia is kind of hypocritical in this because they dedicated a lot of resources for this. It says what most do not know is that for more than a decade, Patagonia has focused their expertise on providing technical outerwear for extreme environments, for the most extreme environments athletes to a different customer, U.S. Special Forces. That's right. Patagonia has a dedicated team focused on supporting USSOCOM with delivering U.S./Berry-made technical cold weather and combat uniforms as a prime provider, as a prime provider of the PCU combat uniform program. So, they cultivate a relationship with Peckham. If you know Peckham, they provide a lot of the garments for the Marine Corps. So, with this, we get the implementation of the Lost Arrow system. So this is when they're starting to refocus. They're trying to come up with what did and did not work with the PCU system. It's just they were coming up with new stuff to make the PCU system. This is kind of going over how they created that at first. 2004 they started working on that for the soft customer. They came up with their regulatory line, and then they came up with the PCU system after. Many components of the Mars system were produced in Coyote. You see like the slingshot jackets and stuff. They're kind of early, like this is a slingshot jacket. So they kind of just look like the soft shell, but they're an early iteration. Then we start to see this kind of evolve into making the camouflage stuff. Then this is their first ever level 9 uniform test. Quite similar to the level 9s that we have now. Pockets are relatively the same, a little bit of a different shape, a little bit of different size, but relatively the same. They're testing all this stuff actively. And then you can see their Lost Arrow project, Patagonia Works. Most recently, Patagonia formalized the Lost Arrow project, a subsidiary of Patagonia Works. They're solely focused on government contracting business. So they're kind of trying to deviate away from it so normal people couldn't really find out. Lost Arrow, we create special purpose clothing situations for extreme environments by leveraging Patagonia's deep experience in material innovation, technical design, and precision manufacturing, of course. And then we see them start the move into the military Alpine recce system, which is still called Mars. They just reinvented the term that they were using before. This is because they're focusing on new materials, basically. And this is just the end of this article. We're actually going to click on this because this is just a little sneak peek preview on what they were working on previously. They're using things like Cryptek and stuff, which isn't really used now. It was kind of just an experimental. It's kind of used in the civilian market, but it was kind of like an experimental camo that they were testing out at that time. So we see a lot of Patagonia stuff made in Cryptek, which is quite intriguing. It's weird to see this stuff made in Cryptek. It's not really a camo pattern that really took off. You'd see it in a lot of video games and stuff, but it never really took off like crazy. So we'll get into the Lost Arrow. I downloaded their product catalog here. So this is straight off supplycore.com. This is where you can find this. You can just look up Patagonia Lost Arrow catalog, and this will pop up. Excuse me there. But same mission set as before. We create special purpose clothing solutions for extreme environments by leveraging Patagonia's deep experience. They're basically using what the civilian market had told them to develop this system. It says the MARS, military Alpine recce system, is a dynamic cold weather system engineered to extend mission duration and operational reach using airflow control. So you'll see that they kind of change up their thinking a little bit. Lightest material ensures fewer items need to be carried. Minimal in-field clothing adjustments to manage. So you'll see air, storm. You'll see this different way of thinking. It's not just the PCU system anymore. It's performance and range that enable you to regulate your personal microclimate, extend operational reach in mild to extremely cold conditions. So you'll see next to skin, flex, air shell, and then storm will be like your level 6 and your level 7. Pardon me. Oh. So your next to skin, you'll see them start moving towards wool, which is intriguing because wool is thermoregulating. If you've used smart wool base layers and stuff before, you'll see that wool is thermoregulating. You start making these next to skin air layers, in different colors, forge gray, fatigue green, stuff like that. All this stuff is USA sourced, all that. Next to skin, antimicrobial, odor resistant, merino wool, FR, wool blend, flame resistant, stuff like that. You want to create an airflow control basically through this. You'll see the lightweight wool tech tees, basically the same thing as the bottoms. It's just for regulating your heat, all that. Managing your moisture. The wool will wick the moisture to the surface and allow it to be carried. So we'll see the lightweight wool crew neck. That'll probably be your level 1A, almost a level 2 kind of. This will start to become your level 2 build up. Still you're with the wool zip neck stuff. And then this will be, just your midweight layer. These are kind of replacing the silkies. This goes into the midweight. You're kind of replacing that waffle knit stuff. And you'd wear this in conjunction with what you had underneath. And then you'll see things like the Dasher jacket, which are your level 3A or 3B type jackets. These are your small little insulating layers. Very lightweight, very compact. Even here, size large, 4.8 ounces. Very lightweight, but keeps you very warm. Start to see these things made out of textured nylon with DWR finish. This is just almost a shell. It says right here, extremely versatile and air permeable wind shell. So this is probably replacing like your wind shirt. And then you'll see things like nano air and fuse jackets. So you'll see this being made out of a mechanical stretch grid. So this is a fleece laminate nylon with a DWR coating, and then your shell B will be 100% nylon coating on the exterior. And the lining will be a blend of grid fleece, so you'll have a grid fleece inner liner. And then you see the omission of adjustable cuffs. These will be just like fast fit spandex elastic type cuffs that are made out of nylon. They're all different colors too, multicam as well. You'll see all these different features. A lot of these things will start having pockets, stow pockets. You'll see this, the stow pockets, chest pockets, front pockets as well. Then you'll have like things like the fuse pants. These would be worn underneath or on the exterior of those other trousers. Sorry, it's a little bit late here. I'm making this video extremely late, so I'm a little bit tired. But you will see these are starting to get really, really light. 14.6 ounces, less than a pound for a jacket is crazy for these materials. They're very lightweight, very technical. Same thing as the fuse jacket. Same materials, lightweight, adjustable. These are just. It says these are for high output activities from cool to cold weather by shedding excess moisture. You don't want to be building up too much heat. You have things like the nano air vest. These are made of full range insulation. They're apparently supposed to dump heat when wet, and when you're cooking yourself, they're supposed to dump heat and allow the heat to escape. Same thing that all the nano airs are made out of. So you'll have things like the nano air hoodie. These are kind of the standard now. You'll see a lot of these on the secondary market, the nano air hoodies, especially these. You won't find the jackets as much. I have one of the jackets, but you will mainly find these hoodies. These are kind of like the Arc'teryx hoodies. They're kind of going after that type of thinking. You want these lightweight and extremely packable. 17 ounces for a size large is nothing. It's a 2-ounce full range insulation blend as well. Same thing for the nano air jacket. This just omits that whole hood compartment. And then you have the nano air pants, stuff like that. Same thing as the nano air jacket, same materials and everything. You're looking at the 2-ounce full range fill. These are going to keep you warm, but they're going to dump all that excess moisture and heat out of them when you're wearing them. And then you'll start having things that are like air shells. These are air permeable shells. Typically, these are made with their own proprietary type of Gore-Tex. It says here they're 3-layer waterproof H2NO. That's their own proprietary form. It's quite like Gore-Tex, but not too the same. It's just their own type that fit their own needs. So they're kind of trying to stray away from using other fabrics that they didn't really design. So they're going into that. So this is basically almost replacing like your level 5 soft shell. This is what you could kind of think of that as, kind of like a Gore-Tex soft shell, kind of an in-between type layer. Then you have the pants as well, same Patagonia design on the pants, integrated waist belt at this time. And then you'll see like things like the Vapor Fuse jacket, not too dissimilar to that, but these are almost the same things, but they don't have like these stretch body panels and stuff. They're a little bit different. They don't have the stretch body panels. It's more of like a hard shell. It even says it's an air permeable air shell with 3 layers. This is just your exterior shell over that. If you wanted to build up some more heat. Then you have the pants as well. These are kind of more in the same vein as the typical soft shell pants. The 2-button, snap button tops. They're supposed to be lightweight, extremely breathable. Then the storm shells are more of your Gore-Tex shells. So this is your stem shell jacket. Storm. Storm is what they went with for recategorizing level 7 and level 6. So you'll have these in like multicam and stuff. They have a DWR finish on the outside, but this is a windproof jacket, of course. Windproof silicone encapsulated nylon ripstop with a durable silicone finish. So All these things are taking in consideration wearing helmets too, so a lot of their hoods were redesigned to be bigger and have more adjustability on those. And then your flurry shell jacket will be more of like your hard shell, of course. This is kind of like your intermediate sort of soft shell into a hard shell, and then you have your actual hard shell jacket. Basically the same thing, H2NO. Storm, waterproof slash breathable performance standard fabric with DWR finish on the exterior. It says product features, like you'll start seeing like seam tape and all that, and some zippered pockets, hook and loop on the front, all that. And then flurry shell bibs, same thing, Gore-Tex type fabric, some waist panels, some spandex in there and stuff. Then you have the thermal ones. So like this is coveted, the DAS parka. You'll see a lot of these on the secondary market as well. Things like eBay, these are replacing your level 7s at this point. Most of these, it says strategically mapped 2.0 and 3.5 ounce full range insulation. Much again, if you're wearing this as a system, you're going to be able to dump all that heat and excess moisture out of there. I'm not really sure what time we're at, but that doesn't really matter because this is a full length, like in-depth talk about all these. You'll see this carry over a lot of features from the Nano Air, of course. The flex cuffs and all that. It even says here, used on top of any product configuration for survival in stationary or low output situations. It says full range insulation can be walk dry in emergency, so you'd walk around until your garments are completely dry, of course, with your body heat. And the DAS pants as well, integrated waist belt, integrated suspenders, all that. And then going into the 3S, this is the 3-season performance. It's basically like the level 9. I don't think the level 9s are in here, but we'll go into it. So your 3S was basically going to be your standard field blouse type stuff. So this would be replacing like your BDUs, your OCPs, your standard advanced combat uniforms, so your standard ACU. Lightweight yet durable technical ops top. Built for athletic comfort, of course. You have your drop-in pockets on the top, your zippered pockets on the side, of course. And this is made out of a quick dry 4-ounce nylon stretch woven stuff. So what we'd see on like the Patagonia jungle pants, same material. Lightweight, stretchy, has some give to it. They're trying to redesign what these items are for adaptability. We have the 3S combat pants, stuff like that, and integrated knee pads, all that. Same cry type look to them. They're a little bit different. They have like a snap button fly and some weird angled side pockets. You see the omission of the upper thigh pockets as well as the calf pockets on these. It says low profile rear pockets. There's some hidden pockets as well. Then you see the combat shirt's more of a rugby shirt. They're kind of omitting that zipper front. It's kind of just a pullover shirt with two Velcro fields on the side with pockets as well. Zippered storage pockets on front of arm, all that. You see the printed bodies, everything like that. You see the same thing, combat tee, just cut short. And then the level 9, I forgot that this was in here. I probably should have looked at the page count, but, this is your standard utility uniform. You see your level 9 field shirt, Mandarin collar, all that, integrated elbow pads, 50/50 NICO, meant to replace your standard utility uniform. You get the level 9 combat shirt that everybody knows. You get that cry-looking combat shirt, all that. You get that printed body, the NICO stuff. Nothing crazy. As we keep on going into it, you get those combat pants as well. The cry type combat pants. There's a button retention thing going on over here. I haven't seen that, but you get these different types of utility pants. They're kind of thinking about the newer end user who's really going to be using these things. And then you get the accessories, of course. Patagonia kind of wanted to move away from the OR stuff. Started coming out with their own proprietary stuff. So like the lightweight beanie, wool. We're seeing this shift into wool. Balaclavas, wool now. FR wool, of course, foam resistant and everything. Neck gaiter, just cut short balaclava, nylon, nylon wool blend. Then you see like specialized things like the duffel bags and stuff, and then you get the knee pads, the weird kind of almost sucky knee pads that click in the elbow pads, and then you have their size chart and everything. But that's for the Patagonia one. We'll go into the Forgeline one now. This is also their workbook. This is also downloadable from their website too. The thing is still relatively the same. They're just trying to switch over their branding from Patagonia, I guess, because they got a lot of flack for it, as I read. But as you can see, it's all relatively the same. They just changed the branding. It's kind of funny actually that they literally just changed the branding for everything. You can see it's all the same stuff. The only thing that's kind of different is some of this ultra lightweight stuff kind of changed. This is kind of like your wind shirt, which you can see a lot of these, a lot of Patagonia ones. You'll see like the same thing. It's kind of like your wind shirt into like your almost soft shell type shirt on here, and then you'll see things like the grid shell pant. They kind of changed up the shell pants into being this grid pattern. They kind of probably thought that the over redundancy of the pants was way too much. Then you'll see like the low loft vests, like kind of like the nano air vest, of course. Yet again, another nano air vest. Lining, it says 100% polyester. Insulation, polyester, acrylic blend. They're kind of going away from their branding. They didn't really want to brand it, I guess, with the Patagonia technology anymore, because they don't want them to really know that they're still making, this is your nano air hoodie. Same thing. It's all the same stuff. Your nano air trousers. Then you have your hybrid jacket. This is your level 5 jacket. It's still that 3-layer waterproof thing. So that's the Patagonia H2NO type stuff. Your hybrid pant, of course. Then you're going into your wind shell jacket. So this will be your wind shirt with added fields and stuff. And then your foul weather jacket. This would be your hard shell jacket, of course. Hard shell pant. Hard shell bibs. For all you Carhartt bib wearing people out there, you can get some cool tactical hard shell bibs, I guess. Then you see the DAS parka again, and then your DAS pants. They just rebranded all this. And then you see this huge high loft wet weather parka, which is kind of goofy looking, but also kind of cool. It's like the Grim Reaper's cape of multicam, coming at a list price of $1,141. So if anybody tries to sell you a DAS parka more than this, they're paying way more than probably what they got it for. But on the secondary market, prices can run wild. So, and we see the same thing with the 3S stuff. This is all relatively the same. The combat pants all the same, rugby shirt, all that stuff's the same. Level 9 stuff, still all the same. They didn't really change it up that much, so it's still all relatively the same. Yeah, if we're looking at all this, all their graphs and everything, all their pictures, all still the same. So let's go into the nitty gritty now. I'm not really trying to expose Patagonia, so please don't sue me or anything like that. But if we look at a website like HireGov.com, which tracks all this stuff and all the federal awards, I'll also go into USAspending.com as well. I did look this up, so I kind of know what I'm talking about, I guess. This was a recent thing. I'll go into the usaspending.gov right now because it's quite intriguing. So if we are looking into this, like it says Forgeline Solutions Inc., also known by 3 other names, Lost Arrow Forgeline Solutions Inc., And their parent company, it says address. This is their address. It's still the same. Santa Barbara, California, 826 De La Vina Street, Unit B. Please do not go to this address and hassle them. um, I'm just looking at their transactions, all this other stuff, so I can look at their transactions over time, everything like that. So let's just click on this bar. So if we look, this is when the Lost Arrow project really started to take off. This is when they were innovating. 2018, the PCU system. The Block 2 came out in 2012, so this is after 6 years of the Block 2 PCU system, and that's why we're starting to see this stuff enter the secondary market because it hasn't been so long. So this is when we start to see them change. So we start to see Lost Arrow, first award. This is probably to put out prototypes. They get $500,000. 2020 they get $6 million. 2021 they get $9.6 million. 2022 they get $25 million. 2023 they get $57 million. 2024 $12 million. This is probably a huge contract obligation. They probably had to make a bunch of stuff. 2024 we get 12, and then 2025 we're so far currently in the new fiscal year 13.6 mil. So when we're looking at it, a lot of it is going. So awarding agencies, we're looking at General Services Administration, DoD, DOJ. This is for some DOJ specific stuff that they had made, U.S. Marshal Services, actually specifically. But we'll see FAS, Federal Acquisition Service. They're paying for a lot of this, a lot of R&D, a lot of product acquisition for SOCOM and stuff. A lot of their other branches too. We see the Department of the Army, 4.38 mil, and then Department of the Air Force, 1.3 mil. But this Federal Acquisition Service, 95% of the total. And then we could see the code, apparel, accessories, and other apparel, acquisition funds, general service, all this other stuff, 117 million. Then we could see the product service codes, clothing, special purpose, 15.18 million. Countries, USA, weirdly, Kentucky. I don't know why. Mass owes them $4 apparently. For some reason, I'm not sure why. But individual equipment as well, probably knee pads, stuff like that. Outerwear, men's, all that sort of stuff. And then when we look into it like this, Lost Arrow, all that, we can see that Patagonia hasn't really changed. Especially for, this is just a different contract obligation that they had, but I was looking into it a little bit. You can see all their different little, you can view all their awards too. You can click on this and see all their awards that they've been given over the years. I think you can see the name change. Maybe not. Maybe it won't show you the name change. When I looked at this before, you could see when the name changed, but you can't see that now. So we're looking at this on highergov.net. We can see Lost Arrow, Patagonia, of course. The link is right to the Patagonia Works website, actually. This is their holding company, so they are still directly supporting this, and you can see their headquarters is in Santa Barbara. Of course, I think the Patagonia Works headquarters is in Santa Barbara as well. They don't really have a lot of information on their website because this is why they don't really want people to figure this out. They don't want to know that they're greenwashing all this stuff. I would consider greenwashing when companies do that and then do the opposite of what they are saying that they're doing. They're like, oh, we're donating so much money and we're so sustainable and we're using recycled materials and all this stuff. It's kind of funny. You can tell that their most recent award was actually pretty recently, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago at least. December 11th, 2024 was their most recent award. So you can see that they're registered, federal registrations and certifications. You can see all of this. It's out there in the open. You can look on all this government stuff and find all of it. You can see description. You can see all the descriptions for all their awards. USSOC, Forgeline MARS 2025. USSOC MARS, USSOC. NSW. Naval Special Warfare, Forgeline. J3 SOC, MARS, Forgeline. AFSOC. Air Force SOCOM. You can see all these. It's not anything too crazy. You can see what they're fulfilling, actually. This is from 2023. You can see foul weather jacket, multicam, medium. You know, like all these different awards. You know, high loft wet weather parka, Arctic. You know, S16 Spear Patrol, multicam, all this other stuff. SI ball, M frame. You know, you can see all these different descriptions for everything. You know, it's intriguing. You know, you definitely want to look into this stuff. It's always interesting to figure out where all this stuff is going. You know, AVS kit, AFSOC, you know, multicam medium, DS Parka, multicam large. This is all their deliveries. They're all making all this stuff. So that's where it's all coming out as. You know, you can see all their nomenclature for everything, all their different product codes and everything else. There's so many out. There's so much of it. All the different colors, all the different sizes, everything. There is so much stuff. There is just so much information here. Um, it's quite intriguing that this is coming out of Atlantic Diving Supply. We'll actually click on this. I'm not. This is just ADS. So ADS Inc. out of Virginia Beach. I guess this might be the parent company because ADS is contracting Patagonia through this. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah. If you look into this, you can see a lot. There's a lot of different things that they do, especially in regards to Lost Arrow and everything. You know, on here it still lists Patagonia as their main holder, of course. They can try and stray themselves away from it as much as possible, but it's still all there. But I'm going to be closing it up here in just a second. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This will be like my definitive guide on the PCU, Mars, the Lost Arrow, Forgeline system with Patagonia. But yeah, thank you guys, and take care.